Pressured by my family to marry, I hastily posted on a matchmaking platform. Is anyone seeking marriage? Feel free to register as a beta. I am tall, wealthy, and handsome, with verifiable accomplishments. No sooner had I posted than my phone received a private message. Delete the post. See you at the entrance of the Civil Affairs Bureau, accompanied by a breathtakingly handsome photograph. I responded, "What?" He replied, "Isn't it marriage we are discussing? How fortuitous. My glands are damaged, and I lack pheromones, thus meeting your criteria." On our wedding night, he removed the gland-concealing patch, and the overwhelming scent of pheromones left me gasping for breath. I was taken aback. "Aren't you a beta?" He replied calmly. "On the day I married you, my glands were damaged. I never claimed to be a beta." 1. Gu Chenjiu, how old are you? If you don't marry soon, your brother's child will be able to serve as your best man. Chenjiu, if you don't get married this year, you might as well not come back. Just think, you are a top-tier alpha. Although your pheromones lean slightly towards O, they are not unpleasant. Why can't you find an omega? A beta would suffice as well. Pheromones do not need to match, do not be so picky. The incessant marriage pressure messages flashed through the family group chat, causing my eyes to hurt. I sighed. During school, they emphasized the importance of academics. At work, they preached the significance of career. Now that I have finally stabilized, they are busy pushing me towards marriage. With a nonchalant attitude, I posted a marriage-seeking notice on a platform. Is anyone looking to marry? Any beta will do. I am tall, wealthy, and handsome. A senior elite from a publicly listed enterprise with verifiable achievements. As for why I wouldn't seek an omega, it was simply because I wished to avoid the temptation of pheromones. I aspired to remain a lucid alpha. Ding. No sooner had I sent the message than a private message reply appeared. See you at the Civil Affairs Bureau. A straightforward response, accompanied by a handsome yet somewhat nefarious photograph. I was taken aback. How could he respond so swiftly? Was he lurking for me? He continued, "Aren't you looking to marry? How coincidental. My glands are damaged, and I possess no pheromones. I have a proper worldview, graduated from a prestigious institution, and am currently employed at GM. GM? Isn't that the company competing for business with mine? What was the name of that heir? I truly forgot. Wouldn't marrying this executive enable me to extract information?" I promptly gathered my identification and headed out. With his looks and occupation, I was willing to forego other stipulations. 2. Upon exiting the marriage registration office, he promptly took possession of 2 marriage certificates. "To prevent you from deceiving me, I shall keep the marriage certificates." He was of similar height to me and bore no alpha aura. I felt I had gained an advantage, nodding in agreement. "All right, you keep them. Now that we are married, I will gift you an apartment. What's your phone number? I'll send you the address." After sending him the address, a limited edition luxury car halted before me. The exclusive vehicle, along with the number plate 8888, highlighted his distinguished status. A beta yet of such high standing? Truly impressive. He stated, "I have some matters to attend to and will be gone for 2 or 3 months. I will return to find you in 3 months. The car door opened slowly, and a gentleman in a suit stepped out, bowing to both of us. Before I could react, he departed. 3 months passed in the blink of an eye. I had forgotten what my spouse looked like, save for one impression. He was exceptionally handsome. "Gu Chenjiu, has your wife returned? When will you bring her home to meet father?" The family group chat persistently urged for a meeting, yet I didn't even know the other's name. "All right, soon," I replied evasively, just as a message flashed on my phone. "I'm back at your apartment. Come home early." I smiled and replied, "Okay." I assumed that the person waiting for me at home was my extraordinarily handsome beta. However, when I opened the door, felt as if the sky had fallen. A pungent and overwhelmingly oppressive scent of pine pheromones enveloped me. My goosebumps rose and my instinct to resist surged. "You're back, my alpha. It's been 3 months, and you look even better." Sitting on the sofa was a man clad in a white suit, strikingly handsome, with deep-set eyes and a faint smile. I squinted, feeling a prickling sensation on my scalp. "Aren't you a beta? What on earth are you?" He touched his glands and replied, "On the day we wed, I had no pheromones due to damaged glands. In my case, those without pheromones are all considered beta." His assertion was firm and logical. My face flushed with indignation. "Are you out of your mind? How can that change? This is deception in marriage." He raised an eyebrow, feigning innocence, Firstly, you never stipulated any conditions for times other than that day. Secondly, I never claimed to be a beta. He partially unbuttoned his suit. On our wedding night, let us make up for it today. Or you can make it up to me. My glands have recovered, and I promise to satisfy you. My face darkened. Satisfy your grandfather. His smile deepened. Firstly, I have no grandfather. Secondly, my grandfather did not marry me, and I have no obligation to satisfy him. Thirdly, it seems you can't negotiate terms with me now, my alpha. He gestured towards the marriage certificate on the table. We are married. It's been 3 months, and I've missed you dearly. I'm hungry. Shall we cook? 3. Shun Jiayu, your husband's name, is also the one who will cook with you in the future. Please take care of him. His voice was calm, and his hands did not cease their movements as he shed one garment after another. I felt increasingly flustered. I attempted to reason with him. Alphas cannot mate with each other. The compatibility of pheromones between two alphas is exceedingly low. Even if forced together, it would bring immense suffering to both parties. Do you dislike my pheromones? He inquired. They're tolerable, somewhat peculiar. His pheromones were indeed unusual. At first, they stirred my emotions, but now, having grown accustomed, I found them somewhat pleasant. Before long, Shinjiayu had disrobed completely, revealing a physique akin to that of a model. Not disliking means liking. Liking means acceptance. And acceptance means we can be together, which makes cooking together entirely feasible. I was at a loss for words against his twisted logic. I'm done undressing. It's your turn. Shall I assist you, or will you manage on your own? His tone was casual, as if discussing a simple equation. I turned to leave. I will not marry an alpha. I will send you a divorce agreement tomorrow. I considered this my first marriage turned second, a lesson learned, and we would owe each other nothing. If my family were to discover my marriage to an alpha, I would likely lose my inheritance. My career and love would be rendered futile. Aren't you seeking the relevant business reports from GM? I can provide them. Just as my foot had not yet reached the door, his words halted me. The collaboration with the GM consortium could propel my stagnant career to new heights. Are you sure you don't want to try with me? Opportunities for shortcuts do not always present themselves. He inquired again. I hesitated for 3 seconds, then promptly turned around, starting to undress. You are right. Let us give it a try, as long as your technique is up to par. If his skills fell short, I would divorce. If he excelled, I would acquire the business information before parting ways. You scoundrel, you beast, you are actually Enigma. The overwhelming pheromones were beyond my capacity to endure. For, by the time I felt his fully developed glands, it was too late. The sound of my own breaths muddled my thoughts. I never claimed to be an alpha. He bit my neck, akin to a cat capturing its prey in spring. I grasped a pillow beneath me and struck it against him. Yet, ultimately, I was unable to prevail. It turned out that although Shinjiayu was a beast, his skills were indeed exceptional. I spent 3 days bedridden, forgetting to eat and drink. Gu Chunjiu, open the door. Where have you been fooling around? The distant voices of my parents echoed in and out. I thought I was dreaming. Turning over, I embraced a warm waist and nuzzled into the hair, only to be jolted awake. A dull ache throbbed at the nape of my neck, while my legs, perched casually, felt a numbing discomfort. What a racket, I muttered hoarsely, jolted fully awake. Gu Chinjiu, if you don't open the door soon, we'll call a locksmith. The incessant banging reverberated painfully in my head. I hastily tossed a garment onto Shinjiayu, declaring, 3 seconds, get dressed. 3 seconds. I'm not. Shinjiayu started to protest, but I flung a pair of trousers over his head in response. As I opened the door, my parents stood there, smiles plastered on their faces. Where's your wife? My father inquired. I hesitated, but in the next moment, Shinjiayu emerged, looking every bit the college student, and bowed respectfully to my parents, Mom and Dad. Perhaps due to his nervousness, he inadvertently released a hint of his pheromones, instantly suffusing the room with a palpable tension. My father shot me a glance. If he is not an omega, I can forget about grandchildren. Shinjiayu, maintaining his cheerful demeanor, replied, Dad, I'm an enigma. We can still have grandchildren, but it'll be tough on Shinjiu. My father's face turned ashen, and he fainted. My mother, attempting to maintain composure, patted my shoulder. It's all right, as long as there are grandchildren. I don't mind. I was at a loss for words. Once my parents ceased their inquiries about marriage, I felt a considerable weight lift, allowing me to focus on my career. When do you plan to provide me with the GM business materials? I asked Shin Jiayu directly, avoiding any circumlocution. Sure, in 7 days, he replied. Confused, I questioned, what 7 days? You get the materials and you'll accompany me for 7 days. He lounged on the sofa, crossing his legs with a playful smile. 7 days? I doubted I would be able to move by then. 3 days, I countered, attempting to negotiate with this newly awakened individual. All right, 3 days it is, but I want a deep marking. He readily acquiesced. I gritted my teeth. It was merely a marking, and for the information I was willing to endure. I'll allow you to mark me as you wish, but I demand absolutely accurate documentation. I couldn't believe a mere employee could procure internal data. Days later, a pile of materials was laid before me, containing crucial data from a formidable consortium. How did you come by GM's confidential documents? I asked, skepticism creeping in. Initially, my interest in him had stemmed from business, but now that he presented me with the files, doubts arose. They're not classified. They're merely past collaboration materials and operational methods, sufficient for your data reference. He answered nonchalantly before pulling me up and nudging me towards the bedroom. Remember our agreement. 3 days for me to mark you deeply. He began to loosen his tie, and I found myself retreating under his relentless advance. You can't be serious. I'm not ready. I attempted to flee, but he grasped me firmly, pinning me to the bed. His voice was soft as he pressed kisses along my neck. I'm hungry. I've given you everything you wanted. Now it's your turn to give me what I desire. That's only fair. My clothes were torn away, and as he held my shoulders down, my consciousness faded. The invasion of Enigma-S pheromones left my mind blank. When I regained awareness, he had already organized a multitude of materials for me. I marveled at his energy, seemingly inexhaustible. Use my methods against GM. Their business vulnerabilities will soon be exposed, Shin Jiayu suggested, placing another stack of documents beside me. Then we'll reach out to those former clients. The Gu family's reputation and influence will persuade them to collaborate with you. I scrutinized his organized files, astonished at his capabilities. They were impeccably detailed. What exactly is your identity? Are you truly just an employee? My curiosity was piqued. He smiled at me. From now on, I'm merely your husband. I have some bad news for you. I'm no longer an employee. I'm unemployed, so you'll need to support me. Since Shin Jiayu mentioned his unemployment, he had not left my side, trailing me like an insistent fly. Each night, he relentlessly sought to mark me. My waist ached severely, yet I couldn't help but scold him. You're insufferable. You come back from being unemployed just to sleep. He pressed a kiss to my lips. Wrong. I came back to sleep with you. I retorted sharply. Get lost. He laughed, retreating while still engaging me. Rest well. You have work tomorrow. You beast, I muttered, unsure if he heard me. He continued to shower kisses near my ear. As I drifted off to sleep, one thought lingered. He truly adored kissing me. Fortunately, with Shin Jiayu's assistance, my career flourished. As my professional life thrived, social engagements naturally followed. Shin Jiayu became my persistent alarm, reminding me to return home on time. When are you coming back? Will it be late again? Can you make it by 10? Or I could come pick you up. He appended a crying emoji to his inquiry. Almost there. Just as I completed my response, I spotted a figure resembling Shin Jiayu walking past. I trailed after him, dialing Shin Jiayu's number. Hello? What's going on? Missing me? His voice, sultry and hoarse, answered promptly. The person I was following remained still, showing no reaction. What's wrong? I asked, concerned as his tone sounded off. Nothing, just thinking about you. Why did you call? His voice was gentle. I chuckled. Nothing. I accidentally pressed the call button. After hanging up, curiosity gnawed at me. The person I was following was not Shin Jiayu. Who was he? Upon reaching the door of the private room, I opened it and listened to the conversation inside. Oh, young Master Shin, didn't he expect to see you here today? How's the cooperation consideration going? The noise inside was overwhelming, but I could catch snippets. What's this? The heir of the GM consortium now needs to drink to secure a deal? Haha. Laughter erupted, and I was startled. The person I was following was the GM heir? What then was Shin Jiayu's true identity? I heard your brother had his glands removed. You're quite impressive. Another remark made my heart tighten. I could surmise Shin Jiayu's background. Yet what was his intention in approaching me? Suddenly, The door swung open with a resounding bang, revealing a terrifying gaze fixed upon me. Oh look, a little kitten eavesdropping on our conversation. I was swiftly yanked into the private room, where a horde of individuals loomed. The air was thick with the scent of alpha pheromones, laced with a provocative undertone. They lounged on the sofa, some sporting beer bellies, looking rather repulsive. Where did young Master Shin find this one? Quite the catch. Ha ha ha, I wonder what his pheromones taste like. How about we share him, boys? We can discuss the contract tomorrow. Their crude banter made me frown. I turned to leave, but someone seized my shoulder. Since you're here, why not stay and entertain us? We could use some company. Get off me. I spun around and forcefully shoved the individual away. I had no desire to linger with them, yet those previously seated on the sofa began to close in. Get some rope. Tie him up. They advanced with ropes in hand, releasing their pheromones simultaneously. My expression remained calm. Shin Jiayu's marking afforded me some resistance even against an enigma. Though it took considerable effort to subdue them, I emerged victorious. As I pushed the door open to step outside, I cast a glance at the person who bore an uncanny resemblance to Shin Jiayu. TSK. A bunch of useless fools, I muttered. They still dared to tease the alpha. Truly, they were a pack of brutes. Upon returning, I found that the hour was rather late. No sooner had I entered than I was enveloped in a warm embrace. Shin Jiayu, his cheeks flushed, radiated a potent pheromone as he held me close. Shin Jiayu? What's the matter? I inquired, running my fingers gently through his hair, which felt alarmingly hot to the touch. Wife, I'm in my sensitivity period, he confessed, leaning down to plant a delicate kiss on my lips. But fear not, I am quite gentle during this time and one tea misbehave. I chuckled lightly. I'm not scared, we have the sensitivity medication. Have you taken it? He shook his head, frowning deeply, pressing my arm and pushing me against the wall. No, I want to taste you. He inhaled the scent clinging to my clothes, recoiling as if he might retch. Guchinjo, why do you smell of another alpha? He tilted his head against me, tugging at my clothing. Hurry, take off your clothes. Recognizing that his temper was beginning to flare, I complied and shed my outer garments. Come, let's cool you down, I suggested, leading him into the bathroom as I too yearned for a shower. As I disrobed, he soon discovered the bruises adorning my skin. Who bullied you? His gaze bore into me, as if attempting to see through my very soul. I got into a scuffle with a group, but I emerged victorious. He lifted me effortlessly, declaring, let us wash together. I will cleanse you thoroughly. The details of what transpired afterward elude my memory. I was awakened by the jarring ring of my phone. My best friend, Suyi, had called me incessantly. Hurry, your husband is causing a ruckus at AE Bar. He has beaten up quite a few people. Come quickly. My heart raced. Shin Jiayu was still in his sensitivity phase and now he was out there fighting? That was utterly reckless. I dashed to the bar, only to find shards of glass scattered everywhere, chairs and tables splintered. The floor was slick with red wine, mingling with a vivid crimson that left me uncertain whether it was blood. Panic surged within me as I turned to search for him, only to be enveloped in a familiar embrace. Wife, you've come, he said, his pheromones still unstable, his breath hot against me. His face was flushed. Suyi had been trailing Shin Jiayu and, upon my arrival, discreetly signaled me with a gesture indicating 9. Your husband is quite fierce. He targeted 9 alphas, aiming straight for their heads, Suyi remarked, giving me a thumbs up. Concerned for Shin Jiayu, I glanced over him. Are you hurt anywhere? He chuckled, lowering his gaze. Let us go home so I can show you, wife. He. The investigators, recognizing Shin Jiayu as an enigma, not only refrained from detaining him but also respectfully escorted him home. The status of an enigma was undeniably formidable. However, news of Shin Jiayu's brawl with the alphas quickly surged to the top of trending topics. Alongside this revelation was the disclosure of Shin Jiayu's true identity. I was not particularly surprised, though Suyi was taken aback. Your husband is one of the decision-makers of the GM consortium. I rubbed my eyes, glancing at Shin Jiayu beside me and lazily replied, you've got it wrong. That isn't my husband. He hasn't worked in a long time. At that moment, Shin Jiayu stirred awake, his sensitivity period having calmed significantly. Leaning against the headboard, he seemed thrilled. You think of me as your husband? His delight was palpable, yet he misinterpreted the situation. I preferred to keep things transparent, asking any questions directly. Are you a twin? Were you ousted in a power struggle? Am I the one you've chosen to exact revenge on GM? I fired off several inquiries in quick succession. After a moment of silence, he nodded slowly. You've guessed half of it correctly. Understanding that we were both utilizing each other, I felt no anger. It sufficed to know his intentions for approaching me. What do you wish to gain from me? I inquired directly, having grown weary of conjecture. If it were to bankrupt GM, I currently lack the means, he admitted candidly. I seek a 3 stake in GM. If I can acquire 3 more, I shall regain what is rightfully mine. His answer was straightforward. Very well. I shall assist you in securing those 3 points. He nodded in agreement, then added, marrying you is not merely a strategy. I genuinely desire to wed you. His earnest declaration was touching, yet I remained skeptical. With ulterior motives laid bare, who would believe in true affection? Nevertheless, a tinge of discontent lingered within me. Due to Shin Jiayu's actions, GM found itself once again embroiled in public scrutiny. This presented me with an opportunity, and I was not alone. Several business magnates sought to carve out their own share of the pie. GM was in crisis. My meeting with Shinjalan, the head of GM, took place after I had unearthed several of their major clients and numerous employees. Gu Xiao, why must you target me so? We're all just trying to make a living, he said, sporting visible bruises and a bandaged head. Evidence of Shun Jiayu's handiwork. I took note of his injuries and scoffed. Present the 3 equity agreement before me, and I may reconsider my stance against GM. I could even invest to help GM weather this storm. I laid the prepared share transfer agreement before him. Gu Xiao, are you married? Do you wish to divorce? Shinjalan queried, attempting to forge a closer connection. We have a sister in the Shin family yet to marry. She is a top-tier Omega, quite suitable for you. I have no interest. I am married and have no desire to divorce. I reached for the documents to leave, but he pressed down on them, gazing intently at me. You married Shin Jiayu to usurp power? You love him that much? I regarded him with a cold stare. What are you afraid? When you ruined his gland, did you not consider he might return to reclaim his position? He leaned back in his chair, attempting to clarify. I lacked the ability to ruin his gland. It was my father who sought to destroy it. It seemed he was trying to explain himself, yet I paid him no heed as I departed with the documents. Shinjalan, however, chuckled. He doesn't love you. His room is filled with photographs of his crush. Gu Xiao, don't find yourself in a position where your genuine feelings are misplaced. I faltered for a moment. Shin Jiayu had someone he admired? Who could it be? My heart raced, though I concealed my turmoil from Shinjalan. Once outside, I messaged Shin Jiayu. Do you like me? After typing a few words, I deleted them, sighing at my own lack of courage. I opted for a different inquiry. Shin Jiayu, how was your gland destroyed? I didn't dare call. I only sent a message and then powered off my phone. I had refrained from asking previously, thinking it was his private matter. But now, curiosity about his situation had surged within me. After a considerable time, I turned my phone back on and found a reply waiting in my inbox. The story is long. If you wish to hear it, I will tell you tonight. All right. After much contemplation, I replied with a single word. I placed the equity contract before him, along with an agreement to transfer shares to him. Congratulations, you can return to GM now. Our plan has succeeded. Although we had yet to secure approval from the GM board, with the 3 stake I had acquired, he now held the most shares. He took the agreement, pulling me into his embrace. Why the long face? I felt a heaviness in my heart due to Shinjalan's words. Yet, I feigned nonchalance and inquired, pray tell, will you enlighten me as to the reason behind the destruction of your gland? I am all ears. To obliterate an enigma's gland is no trifling matter. I did not grow up within my family. From a young age I was entrusted to my uncle. Shin Jiayu recounted his past to me. I was unaware of my status as the heir of a conglomerate. My uncle was financially strapped, merely a beta, and I attended university in City A. Upon hearing the mention of City A, a shiver ran down my spine. I too had studied in City A. In my rebellious youth, I chose a distant school to defy my family's arrangements. Even more absurdly, it seemed that City A boasted a singular university. Were we, Shin Jiayu and I, fellow students? How was it that I had never seen him on the campus leaderboard? Shin Jiayu regarded me, stating at that time you were quite renowned. Your name adorned the confession wall. I chuckled softly. Indeed, it was my name, yet it was merely a facade, a ruse. Everyone believed I had a romantic partner, But in truth, I did not. There were no suitors, no love interests. The conversation veered off course, and I, perplexed, asked, "What does this have to do with the destruction of your gland?" He gazed intently at me, his eyes tinged with crimson, and merely queried, "In university, would you have ever fancied a penniless lad?" "Naturally not," I answered without hesitation. His expression turned melancholic. "Yes, indeed. Thus, I aspired to imprison you upon graduation." A silence enveloped us as I retorted, "Are you asking me to plead? To beseech you for financial assistance?" Confounded by the implications of his words, I rolled my eyes. "Speak plainly. How did your gland meet its demise?" Shinjayu lowered his gaze. "Upon graduation, my uncle was involved in an accident, injuring his leg, which led him to bring me back to the Shin family. However, my relatives refused to acknowledge me. In order to pave the way for Shinjalan, they intended to destroy my gland and offer me a mere 30 stake as compensation." As he spoke, Shinjayu retrieved the contract, scrutinizing the 30 share. I acquiesced, and it was I who took matters into my own hands. I was taken aback. He had acted on his own? Shinjayu was indeed ruthless. He continued, "My uncle held 17. I employed underhanded tactics to quietly transfer his shares to myself." I fell into another silence, astonished by the revelations he had shared. Shinjayu suddenly looked at me, asserting, "For my goals, I am willing to resort to any means." My heart raced, yet I understood Shinjayu's motives for utilizing me. "Shinjalan mentioned that you harbored a secret crush, with your walls adorned with photographs." Despite my reluctance to inquire further, I could not restrain myself. His eyes widened, trembling with a hint of fear. "You think that's insane, don't you? No one would cover their walls with photographs." I sighed inwardly. He indeed had feelings for someone. "Do you wish to divorce?" I probed, realizing his affections lay elsewhere. "You marked me merely to facilitate your own ends, didn't you?" Shinjayu was taken aback, furrowing his brows. "No." Yet I could not heed his explanation. "We have exhausted our mutual utility. We can divorce now." As I attempted to leave, he seized my wrist. "Do you think I am mad?" He suddenly pressed me against the sofa. "You must think so, right?" Shinjayu had lost control. He pinned me down and sought to tear away my clothing. I resisted fiercely, striking him across the face. "Wake up." He was momentarily stunned, yet his gaze grew more ferocious. He tore at my garments, venting his frustrations, and bit into my gland without relent. After it was over, I bore the pain, attempting to speak to him calmly. "Let us divorce. After all, you do not love me. You have a secret crush, do you not?" Upon hearing the word divorce, Shinjayu's pheromones shifted drastically. The enigma's scent filled the room with an overpowering intensity. I yearned to escape, yet felt utterly drained, collapsing against the edge of the bed. He approached slowly, crouching beside me, and declared, "I will agree to anything except divorce. You stated we could marry and divorce afterward, but that is not solely your decision." His fingers caressed my hair, then lingered on my lips, his gaze both sultry and ominous, evoking a sense of dread. "You wonder, if I were to bind you perpetually, would you remain perpetually angry with me?" He lifted me, placing me upon the bed. The potency of his pheromones overwhelmed me, triggering my sensitivity. In this alpha's susceptibility period, my emotions spiraled out of control. I trembled uncontrollably, clutching his shoulders, perspiration pouring down. "The medication," I gasped, "an alpha suppressant. Without it, I would lose control, my consciousness fading." Yet Shinjayu bound my hands, his voice soft. "What do you need? I am your remedy and you are mine. We cannot exist without one another. Admit it, you desire me." He had lost his composure, gripping my neck firmly. I too was unhinged, unable to discern my own words. It seemed I was compelled to confess my affections for him, declaring my inability to be without him. When I regained consciousness, my legs throbbed painfully, my knees particularly bruised. Glancing down, I noted the purplish discoloration on my knees. "The ointment has been applied, but it appears you will require some time to recuperate." Shinjayu emerged from the bathroom, seemingly just having bathed. I cast a glance his way, then turned away, disinterested in observing him further. What a beast! Aside from this sentiment, I could conjure no other words to describe him. Indeed, quite beastly. However, I have long wished to act upon these desires. Shinjayu made no effort to conceal his intentions. "I adored you during my university days, plastering your photographs throughout my room. Upon hearing this, I opened my eyes wide, staring at him. He continued, I lacked the courage to confess. You were the scion of the Gu family, while I was merely a destitute boy. Thankfully, you posted a message. I have always kept tabs on you, he declared, his affection palpable. Yet I struggled to believe him, rasping, Do you have any proof of your feelings for me? He nodded. Once you have recovered, I shall take you to a place. Shunjiayu brought me to Sitie, to the very room he had rented during university, which he had yet to vacate. His abode was modest yet impeccably clean. I had never envisioned that an enigma like Shunjiayu would harbor such a self-deprecating past. Did you endure your secondary differentiation alone? It is said that the pain and alpha experiences during their transformation into an enigma is excruciating. I could scarcely fathom how he had persevered. He lunged at me, grasping my wrist and pushing me onto the bed, which could only accommodate one person. Breathing heavily against me, his eyes seemed to devour me. During the differentiation, I thought only of you. You occupied my every thought. At that time, I surreptitiously captured a photograph of you and subsequently commissioned a lifelike doll. His tone was calm, yet my ears burned with embarrassment. I furrowed my brows deeply. Shunjiayu, you truly are. My sentence was cut short as he captured my lips in a kiss, deftly unfastening my garments. When I said I wished to imprison you during university, I was sincere. His gaze was profound as he fixated on my unbuttoned white shirt. Alas, you were surrounded by exceptional alphas. I studied his face, jesting. Should you confess your feelings, I might just accept. Shunjiayu's countenance was undeniably pleasing. His eyes darkened further. I truly regret not having abducted you years ago. He spoke as if jesting, yet as I lay in that room, I gazed at the photographs from my university days. Many angles were quite discreet. He had shadowed me throughout my entire university experience. You are indeed a madman. Aside from this assessment, I could think of no other words to express my astonishment. Had it been a few years earlier, I would have found myself quite intimidated by Shunjiayu. However, in the present, Shunjiayu exudes warmth and thoughtfulness, and he harbors affection for me. Dashing and affluent, he possesses an array of admirable qualities. If one were to speak of possessiveness, it appears I share a similar sentiment. Not necessarily a flaw. I rolled over, pinning him to the bed. Just how much do you like me? Allow me to feel it. Shunjiayu responded with a GM, and with my assistance, he seamlessly ascended to his position. Shunjiayu, did you marry me in haste because you had secretly harbored feelings for me for years? I inquired again, still somewhat incredulous. Yes, I have liked you for a long time, a love at first sight kind of affection, he reiterated, kissing my hair and nuzzling his head against my neck. So much so that it has transformed me into enigma. Content. I embraced him. I've sent the invitation. Shall we marry again? This time you shall propose. I planted a kiss on his neck, but upon seeing his gaze darken, I immediately pushed him away. Calm down. I attempted to counsel him to regain his composure, only to have him seize my wrist. His voice husky, he kissed my lips. When is your sensitive period? I want to see you on your knees. I rolled my eyes and playfully tapped his shoulder. When it came to marriage, neither of us possessed much experience. Nevertheless, Shunjiayu stubbornly believed that only a union known to the world could be deemed a true marriage. Thus, he orchestrated a wedding banquet that garnered the attention of the entire city. After enduring 3 days of sunbathing under the scorching sun, the ceremony was finally complete. Next time we marry, I shall certainly choose the evening. I nearly collapsed onto the bed, yet Shunjiayu seemed unfazed. After the wedding concluded and the guests departed, he insisted on bathing together. Today marks our first day of marriage. Shouldn't we spend the night awake? He pressed me against the wall and kissed me. I was at my wit's end, having barely slept for 3 days. I was utterly drained, and my vision blurred as I fainted in his arms. Epilogue. Gu Qinzhou. I have married, and to a subpar alpha. My best friend, Suyi, messaged me, accompanied by a wedding photo. The other party was remarkably handsome. Just looking at his face, he hardly seemed subpar. Are you certain he is subpar? I inquired in disbelief. Indeed, I verified it. He lacks pheromones. More reliable than yours. At that moment, Shunjiayu tilted his head, glancing at the wedding photo with a raised eyebrow. Oh, isn't that Linyu? How did he get married? I scrutinized my best friend's wedding photo, tentatively pointing at the man beside her. Linyu? The researcher specializing in alpha pheromone conversion? Is he a subpar alpha? Shinjiayu nodded. Subpar? A pheromone that can render an omega unmated and instantly unconscious. Is that considered subpar? I gasped, hastily messaging my best friend. Xiao Yezi, your fiancé has issues. Run away. After a long silence, the response came. Sorry, he has fallen asleep. I thought to myself, this is a disaster. I've landed in trouble. A hasty marriage bears risks. Yet if the counterpart is a tall, wealthy, and handsome gentleman, it may be worth the gamble. I won the bet, striking the fortunate one in a million. The end of the narrative. Thank you for listening. If you enjoyed it, please do subscribe and give a thumbs up in support. Until we meet again in the next tale.